Hello folks, welcome back. A few days ago we made our video on grafting queens. Now the hive we got into to pull the frame out of for the freshly hatched larva happened to be a queen that we overwintered in a 5/4 nuke box. Now you'll remember that is the queen that we put in the polystyrene box, or one of our polystyrene boxes that we're trying this year. They overwintered exceptionally well. I was amazed how well they did actually, and they still had a lot of honey. Got them put into the polystyrene box. I immediately put a honey super on them. So 2 weeks goes by. I get in the box to find a frame to graft off of, and I'm shocked that the honey super's already full. Now we're just now getting to the middle of April. Our flows really haven't started yet. So they were doing exceptionally well. As I pulled it apart, we started finding some surprises. So I got it all filmed. Let's take a look at it, and then we'll come back and review what I did. I have to be investigating that box here pretty quick. Trying not to create too much vibration and noise. Go kind of slow here. These are pretty calm bees. Always look for your queen on the bottom side of your excluder. But these are pretty calm bees. I'm not used to wearing these heavy gloves, but being that I was just in that other hive, I expected them to be a little angrier with me, so that's why I'm wearing these instead of the nitrile gloves that I normally wear. Solid pollen, love it. Always double check, make sure. I don't expect the queen to be over here, but you never know. They're already bringing in some pretty good nectar. A lot of drones. Love it. Bring that frame out front there. So what I'm looking for is a frame that's got eggs and freshly hatched larvae. Little tiny freshly hatched larvae. This one's mostly pollen and sealed brood. Sealed brood on this side for the most part. I got a bee up in my hood. Step away here real quick. Got a few guard bees off of one of these hives up here bothering me. I don't really think it's off of this hive though. Okay, let's take a quick look at this again. This one's got a little bit of tiny stuff in it, but not exactly what I'm looking for. The bees and brood look very healthy. This was, if I didn't mention it already, one of my overwintered nukes. Here's my queen. I don't know if I can get her on this or not. Not sure where the camera's pointing at actually. There's the queen. Can't really tell. See eggs down on this side, but I don't see any of the larvae of the right age. Being kind of gloomy out today, it's harder to see down in those. Try the next frame over. I'm going to take all this bottom comb off. Just creating a problem as I'm going in and out. I'm dragging across the next frame. It's all drone for the most part. Queens on this one. Let's take a quick look. She's up here towards the top. Ease this down in there. Let's take a look at the next frame. See if we can find a frame a little better. That one had some of the right age, just not a lot of them. This one's all sealed. Looks of it, I think I better be adding another box to this one, just for the floor space if nothing else. Sealed. Look at that. A little nectar in the bottom. Okay, this one I think is going to have what I need in it. It's got a lot of older larvae, but it's got some eggs and some freshly hatched. So I think this is probably the one I'll use. I'll set that one aside temporarily. See what the next frame looks like. This one's got a lot of eggs in it. This one's got a lot in it too, but I think the other one probably got more of the right age. We already got a capped queen cell here. Yeah, they're thinking, ain't they? Okay, this one's got a queen cell. I do like this queen. Obviously, I'm going to graft off of her. So I might even pull this off. Small split off of this one. I hate to pull the population back because this is my one of my honey production hives, but we're not in a flow yet. So we're going to remove those, that one, that one. Those two. So found that they had got some swarm preparations in their mind. Now I just moved these girls into this bigger box 2 weeks ago. got here now. So I took the frame that had the really nice queen cell, cut the other ones off. There's a start of one here. We're going to cut it off. We're going to make a small split. It's the time of year. We're coming into mid-April. Couple cells here. We're going to remove them. We're just going to keep the one really good one. I've got some drawn frames we're going to put in there. Shuffle them around. That should give them plenty of space. If there's any additional forming, hopefully. Okay, and what else we got here? Might pull one more frame. Okay, lots of food, open nectar, pollen. A lot of open nectar. So I'm going to take a 3-frame split off of this. Put some drawn frames in here. I'm going to go ahead and graft off over. I'm going to have to keep an eye on this one for a couple more weeks until they get into a good flow. Once the flow gets going, that kind of shifts their mindset a little bit. So pop this one over there and we'll come back and finish up. Okay, so we got some really nice drawn frames here. We're going to kind of, I don't want to split the nest up too badly, but how are we going to do this now? I want them to realize that, hey, we got plenty of space. Let's clean these edges up real quick. I would say within, before the day's out, they'll have these frames freshened up and the queen will already be over there working on them. Another really nice drawn frame. Got a little bit of bee bread, a little bit of crystallized honey in it, but it's pretty empty. This is one of those things that nothing ever goes exactly as planned. But you got to be able to make that decision and roll with it. I needed to pull the population back just a little bit. So we'll go ahead and use a queen cell. And make a small split. There's a lot of capped brood in here about to emerge. It's not going to hurt the population too much. Okay. So we got that task done. I've got my frame here that I want to graft off of. The bees are keeping it plenty warm. I'm going to have to get them off there though. You really don't want to shake these too hard. So this is where a bee brush comes in. Unfortunately, they really don't like this. So you just want to kind of flick them off. You don't want to try to push them off. If you're not careful, you try to push them off, you're just rolling them and beating them up and really making them mad. Another queen cell, look at that. See, didn't even see that when I looked at it the first time. Come on, girls, get off of there. The reason you don't want to shake the frame, which would be a lot quicker and easier, is you don't want to dislodge the freshly hatched larva that you're trying to graft off of. Come on, get out of there. Okay. We'll go over here and jump in the truck, graft just a few little larvae off of this. Then we'll come back and pop it in. I'll make a decision what I'm going to do with this queen cell in the meantime. Nice looking queen cell. And again, I really like this queen, so I hate to waste them, you know? So, big surprise there. There's the polystyrene box that we used to graft out of. They had other plans, didn't they? Well, at least they were trying. They really came through winter strong, amazingly strong. So I really like everything I'm seeing so far. Calm bees, overwintered really well, conservative with their honey coming through winter, as you can see from that video when we transplanted them into the polystyrene box. Our flows haven't started yet. They're already scavenging enough of the little flowers that they've already filled a super. I have since put another super on them. Now, you saw when I was going through the box, really good population, a lot of sealed or capped brood, still a lot of young larvae still in there. Good bee population. I didn't even show all the bees that were in the honey super that I pulled off ahead of time. So I ended up making a 3-frame split with a sealed queen cell, lots of bees, mixed brood, some honey. Set that in a little nuke box. The frame that I grafted off of, you saw that one also had a beautiful queen cell. I had another hive that had a spring of 2017 queen that just didn't make it. She passed away early this spring. I still have a good population of bees in there. I slid that right down in there. My hope is that they'll take care of it. That will hatch out or emerge. She'll go on mating flights, and there'll be enough bees to really get that little hive going again. So we didn't waste it, and we sure didn't waste any of the others. By pulling back the strength, I pulled 3 frames of bees and brood and put in the nuke box, plus another frame of brood out. I pulled the strength back pretty hard on that hive. That should kind of deter him from trying to do any type of swarm preparations for a little bit. She has suddenly a lower population of bees and a tremendous area to use for her brood chamber, because she got 4 fully drawn frames that are empty. I'm sure the bees got in there, they cleaned them up. Within 24 hours, I'm sure she was already on them, starting to lay up. So by pulling the strength back on that hive a little bit, that should buy me time till we get into our main flow. Now, our main flow will start here in another week or 2. Once we hit that main flow, they'll probably shift, as long as I give them plenty of room, and that's the key, making sure you stay ahead of them with room. As long as I keep plenty of room in that box, that they've got plenty of floor space for the emerging bees, they got plenty of area to keep pushing the nectar up away from the brood chamber. As long as you keep doing that, it'll kind of shift their focus away from swarming more into the hoarding instinct of storing honey. So at least that's what we're going to try. It should work. We're going to follow up with that. We're going to do a lot of reviews on this polystyrene box and how the bees are doing. So far, that hive has just jumped out a couple weeks ahead of all the other boxes I have. I do have one other polystyrene box down there with a similar aged queen. They seem to be doing better than all my wooden hives also. Not sure if it's just those particular queens and their particular, little group, or if the polystyrene hives just within a couple weeks has made that much of a difference. Sure is interesting to follow. We have a lot more updates coming. I sure appreciate everybody following along and watching our videos. I'll see you next time.